Premier League is back after an absence, and they were missed, I think, certainly by me, I think by most fans, and I hope by my two guests, Liam Brady and John Giles. Today is back a full Premier League programme played in midweek this week, and some interesting games, and games that will affect the top four, which is the target for all bar Manchester City and Liverpool, who look assured. I'm joined by John and Liam. Liam, just let's start with the Manchester United game at Burnley. They had a bad result in the Cup against Middlesbrough at home last week. They were 1-0 up and blew it and went out on a penalty shootout. The lad who missed the penalty, Alanga, young player he brought in as a winger, was bombed for the Burnley game because he missed his penalty, maybe. But they brought in Jadon Sancho for 90 minutes, which is rare. He hasn't started and finished many games, and I thought he played really well. But their performance against Burnley, Liam, at half-time, I think I was talking to John on the phone, we were thinking how many, because Burnley were so poor. But that's not the way it turned out.
No, well, with Burnley, they're never going to give up, Eamon. Sean Dyche has done a tremendous job there. They've managed to stay in the Premier League with very little resources year in, year out. And they came back, and you kind of knew that was going to happen. United haven't got a winning mentality. They haven't got a winning kind of... It doesn't seem to be too important for them to get over the line to win a game. There's no consistency of selection.
No,
we had that before with Solskjaer. We have that again with Ranić. Don't seem to know his best team, Eamon. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's a different team every week. I mean, he played Cavani, left Ronaldo on the bench, played Sancho, who looked very good, I thought. But Marcus Rashford is also playing very, very poorly, and he doesn't look as if his heart was in it. It was noticeable the other night that he was really not working back, wasn't really going for tackles, and they look like they play in fits and starts. But Pogba got the goal, his first goal for over a year, so there's no real good news for United.
No, he took his goal very well, Eamon.
He did, yeah.
He took it really well, and we've always been quite critical of Pogba, but he actually didn't do too bad in the match on Tuesday. He was one of United's better players. However, they've got an array of really outstanding players of talent, but they're not a team.
No.
They're a bunch of individuals, aren't they?
They are, yeah. John, that's very true, isn't it? There's a different team on the pitch every week, and there's no, as Liam says, no consistency, no pattern, no shape to the team.
No manager, Eamon.
Well,
I'm not a manager for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like this lad's come in now on an interim basis, as they call it, which is nonsense. Eamon. We all know as players anyway. My opinion is bad. The manager has to be there forever.
Yeah.
In your own mind. In other words, you play for him. It's about your contract. It's about all the things you want to do. This fella hasn't got a chance at it. Once he came in as interim manager, Eamon. Well, first of all, we had Solskjaer for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Now he was no doubt. They wanted him, because they could tell him what they do, and they did. So without a manager, they've been down a manager for 4 years.
Yeah.
And no matter what talent you have, you won't get the best out of them unless you have a manager.
Yeah.
A good manager.
Yeah.
Right? This fella's looks like he's going to be gone at the end of the season.
Yeah, and they've had an easy programme since he's been at the club. They haven't played any of the big teams yet, and so therefore their record is okay, and they're one of the teams competing for a top 4 place. I want to ask both you and Liam. I'll ask you first, John. Harry Maguire, badly at fault for the goal the other night, could have been sent off, a little bit lucky to stay on the pitch because he did make a foul that stopped the player being in on goal. He was 40 yards, he had a lot to do, so he didn't get that. But Maguire looks like he's floundering, John, all season.
Yeah, he's not the only one, Eamon.
No, but he's a key player, John.
I've seen the paper this morning. Sorry?
He's a key player for them.
Of course he's a key player. They're all key players, Eamon. But I've just read in the paper this morning that the players, the papers, and the papers do get stories. And one of the things they're saying is the players now want Pochettino,
Yes.
right? That's the players.
Yeah.
Because obviously they don't think he's... But no matter who comes in as interim manager, is not going to do it, Eamon, because players think, well, he's not going to be here next year. Why should I be playing for him now?
Yeah.
Why do I have to do what he wants me to do now? And that's the key problem, because they have the talent, as we know. The players that they have in the club now and for a few seasons are very, very talented players. But you have to get them together. You have to make them a team. And there's nobody doing that. There's been nobody doing that for years at Manchester United. And now you're in a situation where this fella's probably gone at the end of the season. Who are they going to get in again? Who have we got?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I want to ask you also about Marcus Rashford. I mean, he was a young player, but for about a year now, he hasn't really played. Now, to be fair to him, I don't think he's best where he was played the other night on the right of a front three. He's best on the left. He can win his right foot down. But at his best, he was a really promising, talented young player. He's not doing it now, John, and I was watching him the other night. He was actually pulling out of tackles.
Well, again, reading the papers recently, I mean, it seems, from what I read him, and he's having some mental problems.
Yeah.
You know? And we don't know what that is, but obviously it affects players. But he hasn't been doing this stuff for quite a while now.
Yeah.
If you look at Fernandes, who's a talented player, all I see him doing is moaning and groaning about people. Maguire making mistakes he shouldn't be doing. Pogba, is he going to stay? Is he not going to stay? Is he going to play? There's a whole mess there. And what they need is to get a grip of it, get a good manager in, and that has control of the players, has the respect of the players fear him, and he's the boss, and that's what he's going to do.
Yeah,
and you don't have that.
No.
And if you don't have that, Eamon, it's going to show itself on the pitch. That's football.
Yeah, Liam, it's noticeable at Arsenal, who haven't spent anything like the money Manchester United has spent. It's over $1 billion now for nothing, really. Mikel Arteta, not a good result last night away to Wolves, who are a good team under this new coach. Arteta's kind of making a go of it, isn't it? I'm looking at the table here, and Arsenal, what are you laughing at? Arsenal, they've got a couple of games in hand.
Well, I'm laughing because you sway with the results, Eamon. You go with results, you know. Yeah, so Arsenal are now looking good, maybe, or looking much better to finish fourth, with Tottenham slipping up against Southampton and Man United not beating Burnley. So you're thinking, well, I watched Arsenal. It was poor. It was really poor stuff. Yeah, it was really poor stuff. They won, but they didn't deserve to win, to be quite honest. They hung on. They defended quite well. Gabriel was the man of the match. He got the goal. Yeah. And
well, the way
he was one of the main reasons. If Arteta gets fourth, if Arteta gets fourth, it will be probably a situation where he gets a new contract. If he doesn't get fourth, you kind of scratch your head. Are we going in the right direction with this guy?
Well,
I'm not convinced that everything's absolutely fine with this manager.
Okay, the facts of the league table are they've 2 games in hand of United and they're 3 points behind, and they've 3 games in hand of West Ham and they're 4 points behind. So they, on stats anyway, they've every chance. They're the same number of points as Spurs.
Yeah, but they could easily finish 7th.
Yes, they could.
They could easily finish 7th. Yeah, so, and that's not good enough for Arsenal. And by the way, they have spent a load of money as well. You said compared to United, they haven't spent money, but they've spent a load of money as well.
Right.
And there's a big question mark there for me. But to go back to Man United, John is absolutely right. There's no kind of leadership. There's no direction. Maguire is a centre-back. You know he can't run, but you should play him with a centre-back that can run, and Maguire can attack things and the other player will cover. It's always been, that position has always been a partnership.
Yes.
And the same up front. I think Rashford is a number 10. I don't think he's a winger. I don't think he likes playing on the wing.
Right.
So they keep chopping and changing. If United keep chopping and changing, if you don't get consistency in selection, you'll get mixed results.
Right. Now, John, let's move on to Leeds and Villa. That's the match I chose to watch on Wednesday night. It was a real great game, really. 6 goals, 3-3. Leeds went ahead, then they're 3-1 down. They're an amazing team, John. They've got 3 of their key players, including Phillips, the England international and a regular in the England team, out. And still, the way they play, the zest, the confidence, the energy, and indeed the composure when they're attacking, they really are something else.
Yeah, they've got a manager, Eamon.
Yeah, I know that. A bloody good manager,
He knows what he's doing. You know, like he's got limited players really in relation to Manchester United and indeed Arsenal, as Lee mentioned there. Yeah. But he knows what he wants. He knows what he wants to do. He dictates to them. They do what he wants them to do. They're a team with a good manager. I mean, Bamford's out, Phillips is out, who two of their best players.
Yeah,
but they're still playing in a certain way. You know.
Yeah, Ayling. This fella Ayling, who plays, he can play right back. He can play centre half. He's a hell of a... He had a great game the other night. He's a hell of a player, John.
He's a terrific player. I think Liam would know him. Would you know him? Liam, was he at Arsenal?
Yeah. I know him since he was about 9 years of age, John. Yeah.
He's a real...
And funny enough, we won the Youth Cup at Arsenal. I can't remember what year it was. And we had an exceptional team. Wiltshire was in the team. But he was the kind of guy who everybody thought, well, he's not really going to make it. And he went off he got released. He went off to Yeovil, then he went to Bristol City, and he's worked his way back up. You know, he took a hit from Arsenal. He was given a free transfer, and you thought, well, he's just going to be, playing it down the leagues. But the kid is dedicated, John, and he's a good footballer and a good football brain. And he can play right back, as Eamon says. He can play centre back. He's a real good player and a real nice kid.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Bielsa, John.
I think he's terrific, Eamon. I think he's terrific. I think he's the best right back in England.
Right. The thing about Bielsa,
I think he's brilliant.
It strikes me. The thing about Bielsa is he has improved immensely. Players like that, Phillips, for example, who's in a regular, played every game in the Euros for England, and is a very, very good holding midfield player. He's improved him. He's improved Ayling, and
he's made a team.
Bamford couldn't score a goal he couldn't score in a whist drive, and now he's scoring all the time.
Well, that's what good managers do. I know I keep going back on it, but you can't have 11 players with the talent that Manchester United have without a manager. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
And I've said to you before at the start of the season, if I were Manchester United at the start of the season, I'd have gone for Bielsa. I'd still go for him.
Yeah.
Because imagine what he's done with the Leeds players. Imagine what he can do with the talented players that Manchester United have.
Yeah.
And lead them and get them playing the way Leeds actually play. It's remarkable, because he spent very little money. They play the same week in and week out. They have, they do what they do. But imagine what he could do with more talented players. And I don't be disrespectful to the Leeds lads, but Leeds are a good team. With certain players, but it's the way he has them playing, the way he leads them, and he's the manager, he's the boss. He doesn't stand for any nonsense, and he gets the best out of them that he can possibly get, and that's what I would think. If he was at Manchester United with the talent that they had, and they played in the same way, and he controlled them in the same way, I'd go for him.
Yeah, do they impress you, Liam? I mean, for what they have, they're adventurous, committed, composed, very good goalkeeper as well, Meslier. But he's done a great job there, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, the goalkeeper's young, isn't he, Eamon? He's one of the youngest in the Premiership, and he has made mistakes, but it looks like, the manager believes in him, and he's saying, okay, you made a couple of mistakes, son, but you're gonna keep on playing. And he's got better with experience. I think that's the position. The goalkeeping position, that experience means more than anything to, it means more than an outfield player. You learn from your mistakes, certainly. But they have a stamp, don't they? They have a stamp of how they play.
Yeah.
It's quick and it's really good football. They play out from the back. They try to play very, very quickly. The passing's quick and slick. And yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with John. You know, a big club. Look at Bielsa. No, I'm not convinced about Arteta. I think the jury's still out.
Right.
Manchester United haven't got a manager. And you look, well, he is the manager. His
Yes.
stamp is on that team, isn't it?
Yes, very much so, and it's amazing. I just want to briefly speak about Villa, John. Steven Gerrard, if they had won the other night, they'd have gone into the top half of the table. Steven Gerrard did a great job at Rangers. There's a lot of belief that he might turn out to be one of the big managers. And Coutinho had a really good game the other night, scored a goal and made a couple of goals and looked, I know he's a player that can have off nights when he disappears, but he was really good the other night. The guy who killed Villa, John, and we've talked about him a lot, is Tyrone Mings. He struts around like he's Franz Beckenbauer, but he scored a hat-trick the other night. He gave Leeds all their goals. He's hopeless.
I don't rate him, Eamon. I say he was a big lad. He has all the physical attributes of it, but I don't like his attitude.
No, he thinks
he's full of himself, Eamon, as if everybody else is everybody's making mistakes except him. But that's a few. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, remember Lukaku scored a goal in header, and he was behind.
Yes.
And you're right in that sense. Anytime I see Villa, if they lose a goal, he's usually there or thereabouts responsible for it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly rate him, and you say Steven Gerrard, whether he cops on to him or not, remains to be seen. I mean, but he does cause a lot of goals for Villa, that's for sure.
Yeah, and now I want to move on to Liverpool. Liam, I know you didn't see the Liverpool game. John, I thought they were scintillating, really scintillating. Now, they were playing a very weak Leicester team. The manager had the hump. He left a lot of very good players on the bench. Tielemans, Inacio. So I knew they lost in the cup last week at home and got hammered. So he's in a bit of bother with the team. But still, Liverpool, and they have a new player, and his name is Luis Diaz. He's Colombian, and he's bloody good. Did you see him, John?
I did. Yeah, I watched the match this morning, Eamon. Yeah. I thought it was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
What they did, the way they went about it, and all the things that you would want. Worked hard when they didn't have the ball. You have to do any stuff again. They were impressive. They were impressive with midfield, Eamon. I think what's a lot of midfield you don't particularly like him.
I don't like him. No, Thiago.
I think
he's a shaper.
Well, he wasn't hopeless. He wasn't hopeless last night, and I thought he was good. I think he's more creative ability even when he's playing well than that they don't have generally with with Henderson in it or one or two other players. That was last night. Anyway, until I've seen him, I didn't last season. I didn't like him, but I've come around to him. I mean, I think he does have a passing ability that the others don't have. But overall, the whole team was very, very impressive. When they didn't have the ball, they closed them down. They didn't give them any room at all. It was an impressive performance and a really good win for them.
Yeah, Liam, I know you didn't see the game, but they've a new player that Tottenham tried to sign and failed. Antonio Conte will be going crazy at Tottenham. A guy called Luis Diaz. He's a kind of winger, but really intelligent. The Colombian. Played for Porto, and they got him for 50 million. That was his buyout clause. But he looked very, very good. Didn't look out of place at all in that Liverpool team, and full of it, up for it. And
Liverpool Eamon have done the best in the transfer market of any of the teams in the Premiership, haven't they?
Yes.
They've really spent their money well.
Yes.
I don't know who's in charge. Well, obviously, Klopp is in charge and has the final say, but
the guy who's in charge actually has just walked, a fella called Edwards.
Well, they brought great players to Klopp. I know Klopp, he says yes or no, but they've certainly targeted the right people. Like Jota is another 2 goals last night. What a buy he's been.
Fantastic.
I didn't think anyone could disturb the 3 up front like Firmino, Salah, and Mane. But he's come in and he's every bit as good as them.
He is, yeah. I don't.
They're the only team that has a chance to catch City. You know.
I just want to ask you about a couple of signings that Spurs made. They missed out on Diaz. Antonio Conte, Liam, looks increasingly restless. They didn't have a good transfer window. What he did manage to do was sign 2 players from Juventus, your old club. You may not know them, so this is I'm springing this on you. One of them is Betancourt.
I know him. He's a French left-footed midfield player. I know him quite well from down through the years. And the other one?
The other one is Kulusevski.
No,
He's also
don't know him.
He only played 10 Serie A games this season, but Betancourt is a player we know, isn't he? But
yeah, from Champions League, yeah. Well, Conte's, at least he's the manager. John keeps beating the drum that you need the manager to make the decisions and who comes and who goes. And I think Conte is in that position. Didn't he bring someone to Spurs with him that is in charge
he
of
did.
transfer dealings?
Fabio
Paratici. But when you're not guaranteed Champions League football, and Spurs aren't, and neither are Arsenal, it's very difficult to get players to come to sign for you. They want Champions League. They want to be playing in the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. And the question I was going to ask you, Spurs missed out on Diaz, who went to Liverpool. They also tried to get Adama Traore, who went to
Barcelona.
He went to Barcelona, and he's getting terrible stick from the crowd because they don't think he's any good. But Conte, obviously, Daniel Levy is still hands-on there. He won't hang around, will he, Conte, if he gets messed around?
No, I think he's got another year of his contract, and basically he's improved Tottenham from where they were when he took over. But if Daniel Levy doesn't back him to improve the team by buying the players he wants, it'll probably be the case that he will be gone after a year.
Yeah. And because
I think he could be gone in the summer, Raymond.
Yeah, so do I. Actually, I think so.
If this Daniel Levy is doing what he normally does, which is not to get the players that the managers want, this fella won't wait.
Yeah, I just
he's lost two or three players already that they might have got. We don't know the circumstances, but he didn't get them. That's the end, and that's his job. That's Levy's job to do it. But Levy is notorious, as we know over the years, for doing what he wants to do rather than what the managers want to do.
Yeah.
And he won't stay. I wouldn't be surprised if he left in the summer.
No. I'm not going to ask you both about the West Ham player who kicked the cat, but, well, I will. I'll ask you, John, because David Moyes, and we all respect David Moyes, and I do very much. He's never put a foot wrong. He's a good football man. I thought those images were really sickening. And now the club have lost two sponsors. Your man has lost his sponsor. And David said after the match, look, my job is to win football matches, and I picked the best team. I can see that, but they probably should have left him out. They're leaving him out tomorrow.
Oh, I think he made a big mistake, David Moyes.
Yeah.
In his response, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
what he was saying was like football is more important than anything else, really.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. My job is to produce my best team.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, say when somebody was at board or somebody.
Yeah,
right. It was bad enough with the little cat. It was dreadful stuff for him to say. It's my job. In other words, I've got to ignore anything that happens whatsoever, as long as I'm picking the team. The world doesn't work like that. Like footballers are footballers, and if he's not knocking the cat around and that, it was dreadful, and he slipped up very, very, very badly.
Yeah.
And I think the response to it now has been very, very harmful to West Ham. The sponsors have pulled out. And I say this morning, now there's murders now because his wages was known, because he'd been fined over 2 weeks' wages.
All the other players are rare enough.
The players are rare enough because Antonio signed a contract for 100 grand. So the players now, I just read about this morning, there's going to be murders over it.
Yeah.
This whole thing. But the response from David Moyes made the situation worse, in my opinion, than what it actually was with his response. It was really, really very, very, very poor.
Yeah. The Zouma thing is disgusting, and it should be condemned, and rightly condemned. And we do, of course, understand. John and Liam, it's Friday duty. I'm very grateful to both of you for watching the games and talking to us today. That's the two best football analysts and two of the greatest players we've ever seen, Liam Brady and John Giles.